Before we begin, if you enjoy stories where humanity surprises the galaxy, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because out there in the stars, humans are often underestimated, until they prove everyone wrong. Now let's begin. The first thing the aliens noticed was the coffee mug. It was white, cracked on one side, steam drifting slowly upward. And the human holding it was not wearing armor. General Krax tilted his head. Around him, the command deck buzzed with tension. Red lights flashed across the tactical displays. Enemy ships closing fast, cannons charging, battle imminent. And in the middle of it all, a human stood calmly drinking coffee. Krax narrowed his eyes. "Who is that?" a nervous officer answered. Sir, that's the human advisor." "Advisor?" "Yes, sir." Krax stared harder. The human leaned against a railing, relaxed, almost bored. "Where is his armor?" "He doesn't have any." Krax blinked slowly. Outside the viewing window, a massive enemy cruiser drifted closer, weapons glowing. Fleet sensors screamed warnings, yet the human still sipped his drink. Krax spoke again. "Why is he here?" "Command requested a human consultant." "A consultant?" "Yes, sir." Krax felt irritation rising. This was a battlefield, not a meeting room. He stepped toward the human, metal boots echoing across the deck. The human noticed him, lowered the mug slightly. "Morning." Krax stopped. "Morning?" "Yeah." The human looked past him toward the battle display. "Looks like things are getting spicy." Krax stiffened. "Spicy?" Enemy plasma cannons were charging. Entire fleets had been erased by those weapons. And the human called it spicy. Krax folded his arms. "You appear unconcerned." The human shrugged. "I've had worse Mondays." Around them, officers exchanged confused glances. Another alarm blared. Enemy fighters launching. Krax turned to tactical. Status: enemy assault wings approaching. Estimated impact: 3 minutes. The bridge went silent. 3 minutes. The human finished his coffee. Set the mug down. "Mind if I ask something?" Krax frowned. "You may speak." The human nodded toward the tactical map. "Those ships fast?" "They are among the fastest in the sector." The human rubbed his chin. "What about their pilots?" Krax hesitated. "Elite." "How elite?" "Top percentile of the Dominion." The human nodded slowly. "Good." Krax stared. "Good." The human stretched his shoulders, cracked his neck. "Been a while since I got exercise." Several officers blinked. Krax leaned forward slightly. "Human, explain." The human walked toward the central console, completely calm. "No offense, General." He glanced at the approaching enemy fighters. "But your people fight like you're trying not to break things." Krax bristled. "We are precise." "Yeah." The human smiled. "Humans aren't." Another alarm. Fighters closing fast. 2 minutes. Krax's voice hardened. "You still have an If you're enjoying the story so far, drop a like on the video. It helps the story reach more people who love humanity first sci-fi stories." Answered my question. "What question?" "Why you were here." The human shrugged. "Command thought you might need help." Laughter broke out from one of the alien officers. Short, nervous. Then it stopped quickly when Krax glared. "Help?" Krax gestured toward the massive fleet. "Human, you are unarmed." The human tilted his head. "Technically." Krax exhaled slowly. "Patience thinning." "Explain." The human tapped the console. The display zoomed in on the enemy fighters. Sleek, sharp, deadly. Then the human asked quietly, "What's their standard gravity?" The bridge paused. An officer answered, 0.8 planetary units. The human nodded. "Thought so." Krax frowned. "Why does that matter?" The human smiled slightly. "Because Earth sits at 1. Silence spread across the bridge. The human rolled his shoulders again. Loose, relaxed, like an athlete warming up. Krax felt confusion creeping in. "What does your planet's gravity have to do with this battle?" The human looked directly at him. "Everything." 1 minute. Enemy fighters now visible through the viewport. Krax turned back to tactical. "Prepare defensive cannons." The human raised a hand. "Wait." Crax's voice snapped. We cannot wait. You can. No, trust me. Crax stared. Trust him? A civilian holding a coffee mug? Another alarm. 30 seconds. The human suddenly moved. Fast. Faster than anyone expected. He vaulted over the tactical console, landing smoothly. Several officers shouted. Crax reached for his weapon, but the human was already inside the navigation interface, fingers flying across alien controls. Human, stop! Too late. The ship lurched. Engines roared. The cruiser surged forward, directly toward the incoming fighters. Panic erupted. Collision course. He's insane. Crax grabbed the railing. Human. The human grinned. Relax. Relax? Yeah. He pulled the lever. Gravity on the bridge shifted. Several alien officers stumbled. What did you do? The human answered casually. Cranked gravity. Crax struggled to stay upright. Why? The human said calmly. Because humans like a challenge. Outside, the first enemy fighters opened fire. Blue plasma bolts streaked toward the cruiser. The human moved the ship. Not slowly. Violently. The cruiser rolled sideways. Impossible angles. Alien officers slammed into consoles. Crax barely held on. Those maneuvers will kill us, the human laughed. Only if you're built fragile. The cruiser dove through the fighter formation. Enemy pilots overshot, confused, disorganized. The human spun the ship again. Your pilots fly smooth. He tapped another control. But humans fly messy. A fighter exploded against the cruiser hull. Crax stared. What just happened? The human shrugged. They weren't expecting the crazy option. More fighters surrounded them, weapons locking. The human sighed. All right. He cracked his knuckles. Now we play rough. Crax shouted. You are not trained for this vessel. The human looked back. Oh, I am. When? Simulation last night. You studied our systems overnight. Yeah. Impossible. The human smirked. Humans binge learn. More enemy ships arrived, heavy interceptors now entering range. Crax felt dread growing. Even a skilled pilot couldn't survive this. But the human seemed excited. He leaned forward, eyes sharp, focused. The ship accelerated hard, so hard the hull groaned. Alien officers screamed. The human spoke quietly. You ever heard of persistence hunting? Crax blinked. No, it's how humans used to hunt. Explain. The human dodged 3 missiles. Most predators sprint. Another roll. But humans, he slammed the thrusters. Just keep going. Enemy fighters began missing shots, overshooting, breaking formation. The human whispered. They get tired. Another interceptor crashed. Crax stared at the tactical display, enemy formation collapsing. Sensors showed something strange. Enemy pilots' reaction times dropping. Confusion. Fatigue. Crax asked slowly. What are you doing? The human grinned, burning them ragged. But they are trained pilots. Yeah. The human flipped the cruiser upside down. But they're not human. More enemy ships retreated. The remaining ones hesitated. Crax felt the shift in the battle. Fear, coming from the enemy fleet. The human leaned back slightly, calm again, like the storm had already passed. Crax spoke carefully. Human, what is your occupation? The human scratched his head. Oh. He looked embarrassed. I'm technically retired. Retired from what? The human picked up his coffee mug again, took another sip, then said casually, Marine Corps. The bridge went silent. Crax slowly lit out the viewport. Enemy ships were withdrawing, not regrouping, not repositioning, running. The human watched them go, then sighed. Aw. He set the mug down. I was just warming up. Crax stared at the human, finally understanding something terrifying. Humans weren't weak. They weren't fragile. They weren't civilians. They were predators. Predators from a heavy world. Predators who never stopped. Predators who didn't fight clean. Predators who kept going until the enemy broke. Crax spoke quietly. Human. The human looked up. Yeah? Crax nodded slowly. I believe we misunderstood your species. The human chuckled. Yeah. He picked up the cracked mug. Steam still rising. Happens a lot. Outside the viewport, the battlefield was empty. And for the first time in the history of the Academy fleet, alien commanders began requesting human instructors, because they had finally learned something important. Humans didn't look like warriors. But the battlefield knew better, and that's the story of how one human changed what the galaxy believed was possible. If this story moved you, leave a like on the video and tell me in the comments where you're watching from. And if you enjoy stories where humanity refuses to give up, subscribe for more HFY Sci-Fi stories. Because out there in the stars, humans are just getting started.